The world's debt is spiraling out of control, and is XRP the key to this new financial system? I want to talk about that in this video. I'm going to show you how much debt is actually in the world, how this is not sustainable, what needs to happen in order for XRP to reach a really true high price. And I got some other great clips along the way that are going to build on this, what we're talking about right here, right now. So let me play this clip for you. This is not a brand new clip. This has actually been floating around, but this is going to speak to a larger movement of what I'm trying to get to in this video.
This reset will be a huge shock when Americans catch on. That's why the average person won't hear a word about the story until it's obvious to just about everyone. And by then, it's going to be too late. Yeah. In the months ahead, central banks around the world are planning to go digital. Many of the legacy banks you've heard of, where you probably even keep your money, like Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, they're about to be reset, overhauled by a new type of technology called fintech, which is short for financial technology.
Yeah, can I ask, what exactly does that mean for the banks and all of us, you and me?
Essentially, it means the function of our banks is about to change. They probably won't raise public suspicion about it by changing the signs on your bank's branches, but according to my sources, the Federal Reserve will soon own all the banks, and your local branch, it's simply going to be like a licensee of the Fed. In other words, the banking infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, and very few Americans are aware this is even happening. We are right on the verge of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to profit by investing in the companies that are building out the architecture for this massive shift.
You are going to own nothing and be happy. What does that sound like to you, right? The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, I think was his name. But let me show you this, right? Here is the US debt clock. Well, this is actually the world's debt clock, okay? And when you look at public debt to GDP ratio, healthy is under 60% here. And you can tell here the US is almost to 90% of this. China is at 82, Japan is at 301%, the UK is at 109, India is at 96, France is at 128, Italy is at 173, Brazil is at 100, Canada is at 129. You can see how this is becoming unsustainable. All of these countries have to keep refinancing this debt over and over again. And as more printing of money happens, right, money becomes less valuable than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 100 years ago even. So these countries have to pay an even higher debt each time that this can is kicked down the road. The US is going through this right now, right? They have to reinvest and reissue this debt. And if they do that at a 5% interest rate, we will be paying $2 trillion a year in just interest, which is unsustainable. And so that is why a lot of the XRP community think that a great reset is going to happen, where this debt is financially wiped out and we go and start on this new system. Or maybe this debt is issued on something like the XRP Ledger or some type of DLT, and this allows this debt to be restructured or reset. Here is a great clip to it goes to what we're talking about here, right? So let me repeat: the vision that fits the execution you're seeing. Bring institutional liquidity to the XRP Ledger so that everyone can contribute to liquidity pools and draw from them. An ecosystem where institutional and retail users meet on a DEX, which is built into the XRP Ledger. The pillars: payment-centric, payment rails anyone can use for their businesses. It's the bedrock function of real-world assets, NFTs, and DeFi. This is what NFTs are really meant to be. They're not supposed to be pictures of apes or dogs or cats or whatever people were buying in 2021. They're really going to be financial instruments that we can issue debt, loans, and all kinds of things on. Ready out of the box features such as NFTs, DEXs, AMMs, accessible with just an API call. Simple for any dev. Established decentralized network, hundreds of nodes, validators, and neutral counterparties. Free asset XRP. Let me go ahead and play this clip. This is a really good one.
So when we see, when I look at traditional finance, like a traditional bank, they were making like $1 trillion of notional of DCD per week at the heat of the market, and eager to see that lightly structured business getting into crypto and enabling everyone to earn passive income and yield, again, like you're shorting an option, so unlimited downside. But those two use cases, I feel like the hedging impermanent loss and the digital option vault hopefully are going to drive enough demand so that we can see that market maturing and seeing like vol surface, vol curves on the option. So looking forward to seeing that.
All right, so let's talk about this really quickly. So if there's 10,000 banks in the SWIFT system, right? The one of the ideas here is that those 10,000 banks will want to use DLT and maybe use XRP, right? Not all of them, but a large portion of these guys will want to use something like XRP to move value. And, you can use Ripple's technology to move that value, or you could start building out your own use cases on top of the XRP ledger that uses XRP. And some people think that banks all over the world are going to start buying up XRP, and then retail will start catching on and they'll start buying up XRP. And soon there will be no XRP on the secondary market, which is exchanges and dexes, so forth, right? That could bring the supply very low. And if the XRP ledger is used to move trillions of dollars a day, or is the home for hundreds of trillions of dollars in value, then you would obviously need a 5-digit price for XRP at that point. Now, there are some people in the XRP space that think that the price for XRP has already been set, right? That conversations have already been had at the highest levels of government around the world, and that they have come to an understanding that this asset will be X amount of dollars. Now, I think this guy's name is Vershawn. Don't shoot. They're like twins or brothers. I don't remember each one of their names. I do apologize. I know one of them is Vershawn, but I know that I was talking to either him or his brother about this clip, and I know that if he could go back and redo this clip, he probably wouldn't have mentioned Linda P. Jones, right? Name dropping is probably not the best situation, but I think he was in a flow of trying to communicate what he was excited about. And it slipped, it got created, it got put up on YouTube, and now everybody can see this. But let me play this clip. It's 58 seconds, and then we'll talk about it.
When we talk about the price of XRP, we have to look at the debt. And central banks have an incentive to dissolve that debt right now. And they found a solution, which is blockchain. They actually are going to, in my opinion, based on the research, and also I can confirm this, that the International Monetary Fund has already agreed on a price before all this integration started to happen. So this was a few years ago. They agreed upon a price, and I got a lot of information from Linda P. Jones has a friend who worked at the Central Bank of Australia, and she said that they agreed upon a price, and it's in the thousands. Now, when we again talk about the XRP price, we have to look at the global debt, the incentive for central banks to dissolve global debt, in fact, also to utilize this source of liquidity from XRP to facilitate, transparency. Moving into the digital economy, this is what they're going to be using. XRP is a financial instrument to serve the global economy.
Now, if you had $1 billion XRP and the price of XRP was $10,000, I believe that's $10 trillion, right? I believe that is $10 trillion. So I think part of the XRP community here believes that, Ripple could take some of the escrowed XRP, and maybe they've already worked out a deal with central banks and the IMF, and they're going to issue some of that XRP that is in escrow to the central banks and the IMF, and they're going to set a high price for XRP, and then that is what the price will be traded at, and then they'll use that financial instrument, XRP, to help pay down or pay off or transition this debt onto DLT. That's how I see this. Now, if you see this differently, or you're hearing something different, let me know down in the comments. I'm very intrigued by what you're saying. This video is brought to you by Margex. You can actually deposit all kinds of different crypto assets and use those crypto assets to trade futures and derivatives up to 100x leverage, which is pretty insane. Different payment options are available: MasterCard, Visa, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and 152 others. You can register now to get up to $10,000 in bonuses. I will leave my link down in the description where you can use it. If you deposit up to $100, you will get $50 back for free, as well as you can use 50% of the bonuses to pay for your fees on the exchange. Looking forward to seeing how you do here. You can also do copy trading if your skills are still developing and you want to follow some really good traders. They have a whole platform that is dedicated to copy trading, as well as if you're wanting to learn how to do all of this stuff, there are definitely some places on Margex site that you can learn how to do all of these different things. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get back to the video. But look how much debt is here, okay? Eventually, this is all going to break. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or maybe it happens tomorrow. I don't know. And I don't think anybody really knows. But this is unsustainable. One day, this is all going to break. And when it does, DLT will be there to pick up the pieces, all right? When you have institutions like the Bank of Canada talking about this is probably USDC, JP Morgan Coin, Ripple, Stellar, right? Of course, Libras. But these private sector emerging DLT-based payment protocols are competing in a wholesale and retail payment space and have the potential to erode established clearing and settlement services provided by central banks and institutions such as Payments Canada. It is therefore strategically important for Payments Canada to continue its close monitoring at events and innovations in the digital currency DLT as emerging fintech happens. All right. Ripple is working with dozens of governments to build out CBDCs, right? Why do you think Ripple focused on mastering a CBDC platform? And now they're on to stablecoins, right? If a country needs to adopt some type of CBDC, they can come to Ripple and use their technology. Countries in general are usually pretty bad about creating their own technology, okay? Usually what they do is they go out and they partner with companies like Ripple, Stellar, Quant, and they build out, they use their technology to adopt in their central bank model, right? This is why I believe Ripple's moved on to stablecoins, because each bank, corporate, right, institution can have their own stablecoin, have their own value, right, that is digitized and brought onto something like the XRP Ledger, right? In full service platform, Ripple allows users to seamlessly mint, manage, transact, and redeem CBDCs and stablecoins. What is Ripple going to go after next? I think they're really starting to paint a picture, right, of what all of these companies, institutions, and central banks, what the technology that they need to make this successful. Now look at this, right? This was just posted. Down here under assets, you can see here T-bill, RLUSD, and a treasury bill, okay? Now, if you don't know this, there is trillions of dollars in treasuries that are outstanding. Look, issuance 16.7 trillion, outstanding 27 trillion, and trading as of July, this is 882 billion, okay? Insane amounts of treasury issuance. If you started to digitize all of these treasuries, stocks, bonds, derivatives, treasuries, and you brought them onto the XRP Ledger and that value lived there, wow, we would be talking about a very high price for XRP. Now, how much money is actually in the world? How much value can actually get tokenized? Let me show you. Okay, so this was obviously created back in 2022 before Sam Bankman was a complete fraud. So they actually have him on here of his private peak net worth. Obviously, this is not the case anymore. But imagine tokenizing sports teams, the value of a sports team, and bringing that onto ledgers. Different crypto assets, right? Any kind of country's GDP could be tokenized. Military spending, right? The US spends $850 billion a year on military expenditures, right? China spends a lot of money too, and so does every other country. Imagine where countries could start tracking where all of that money was going, right? That is really what we're talking about, the future here. Different currencies, right? There's like $50 trillion in currencies floating around the planet. Imagine digitizing all of that. Right now, the M2 money supply in the US is about $21 trillion. Imagine tokenizing that. Talk about gold markets, billionaires' wealth. That value will get tokenized eventually. Central banks' balance sheets, whatever the central bank holds to steady their reserves, right? Whether it's oil, whether it's maybe Bitcoin one day, pharmaceuticals, whatever it needs for those countries in case of an emergency to have in reserves, that value of those reserves can be tokenized. S&P 500, right? How much money is in the stock market, right? I think it's like $100 trillion globally. US versus China GDP, we talked about it. General money supply, we talked about the stock markets, right? A lot of money. Total debt, there's over $350 trillion now in global debt. Imagine that debt being issued on the XRP Ledger. Governments, right? They're spending. Ballooning debt, right? Global real estate, right? You saw Ripple working with, I believe, Fubon Bank on HELOCs, right? Secondary mortgages. Imagine regular mortgage, the first mortgage being tokenized, right? The value of that property being tokenized, brought onto the ledger. That's really exciting, right? I think that is the wave of the future. You got agricultural, 35 trillion, commercial, 33 trillion, global wealth, $463 trillion. A lot of it is made up in the United States, okay? You also have Europe, France, United Kingdom, Italy, Spain, tons and tons of money. Let me just show you this. Derivatives. Imagine putting $1 quadrillion in derivatives on the XRP Ledger and the trading of those derivatives on the XRP Ledger. What would that do to the price, right? We're all smoking peace pipes at that point. We're all buying yachts and helping the poor, whatever you want to do with your wealth. This is what the majority of the XRP holders believe and hope that happens, right? We don't know for sure if it's going to, but we are taking our shots. We are looking at the technology that is built out in the world today. And we are saying that I think this one, the one that has had conversations with the IMF, the one that has conversations and working with central banks around the world, the one that has been working with the US government, we think they are going to be the first choice when and if there's a disaster, or when and if the world decides to move to blockchain and DLT. Exciting. All right. Exciting. So just incredible amounts of wealth, right? And we see this all the time. We see price of XRP spiking to weird numbers like $22, $50, $1,000, right? I don't see spikes happening of other crypto assets. And so, is this testing? Is this the sign of that something is going to happen with the XRP price, that it's going to skyrocket? I don't know. I sure hope so. That's what I keep creating content. That's why I keep following the news. That's why I keep trying to help educate people along the way, because I think if I could get another, 100,000, 200,000 people interested in blockchain and crypto, and they can help dig up information from all across the world, we can all better understand what the future holds for blockchain and crypto. And if XRP has a seat at the top of the throne for digital wealth. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. A lot of ideas I wanted to just get down in this video. If you did find value, please like, share, and if you're not subscribed, we'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. Aloha. Peace.